Hello everyone, thank you for your time today. I'm Priya Kakarla, I'm Quick Suite Specialist SE. I've been with AWS little over 3 years and I have today my co-speaker Vetri. Vetri, would you like to introduce?
Thank you, Priya. Hi, all. This is Vetri Natarajan. I'm the AWS Quick Suite Solution Architect. I've been with the team a little over 4 years now. Glad to be here presenting some of the new capabilities that we released.
So for today's agenda, we are going to touch upon the few things. So like Maddie said, we are going to touch upon theming, why it is important, why styling and formatting is important for you. And next, we are going to go a little deep dive on like what are the different options that are available with theming, and then how you can control at individual visual level as well. And then we have a live demo that Vetri is going to show you how you can apply a theme to your dashboard for your enterprise standards. And I'm going to touch upon how you can control at a visual level. Then we have time for Q&A to address your questions. So better design, better decisions, right? So let's quickly touch upon we build dashboards. Dashboards is not just data; it's beyond that. It communicates insights to our end users. So why is theming so important? Why is it important to have control over the font, styling, and all this, right? Even prior to these enhancements that we are going to talk today, QuickSight has offered high charts, which has given greater control over the flexibility to control your font or your styling or how quickly you can interact with your individual visuals. But with this enhancement that we are going to discuss in today's sessions, you have greater control over the font or either colors or specific to theming. You have much more better control over your dashboard. And these solve some of your major concerns, like how you can have your specific font selection for your access or your data labels, or you want to have the common standard visual themes across your dashboard, or if you want to have a common standard design language across your branding options, that's all can be achieved through these enhancements. So let me first touch upon how theming has been important and how with the new enhancements gives you greater flexibility at different areas or sections within the theming itself. Considering the visuals and titles, uh, I think, sorry, I have to just quickly go for the previous slide. Yeah, here. Uh, Considering the theming capabilities in Amazon QuickSight, starting with solid and gradient background. So you don't have to worry about just having the plain backgrounds anymore. Now you have the ability to choose what kind of gradient background you would like to have, depending upon what is your brand, how you would like to brand across your enterprise, what kind of design language you would like to have across your dashboards. And then specific to containers and visual card styling, with this it gives you like cleaner and more structured layouts for better user understanding of your insights. And also you have the options to control the borders and opacity as well, which will help you the control or which will help you for the user attention and more emphasis on separation of individual visuals and to better provide the better insights. And also the next feature is padding and spacing adjustments that you can control in the theming. With this, the overall dashboard readability can be enhanced and improvised as well. Last but not the least, the reusable themes is a key point here, where you can have these all this layout and font controls can be set up and can be repurposed and reused across the dashboards, and then you can maintain a consistent design across the dashboard. So you have the standard visuals, same design language, and it's much cleaner and much easier for you to embed in your own way. So next, moving to the next section. So moving to the next section, enhancing dashboard design with typography and font controls. We spoke about how you can control these fonts and then the visuals at the themes, how you can create a theme and have it applied across the dashboard. But let's say if you have one of the use case where you want to control at the individual visual level outside the themes. Maybe it could be specific to the visual or specific to the data that you are trying to that you're going to give a message over that specific insight, or you're focusing on specific outliers in that specific visual. Yes, you do have control of these controls at the individual visual level as well. Starting from the titles and subtitles, you can pick and choose what kind of font or size or kind of background color you want in the visuals and subtitles and subtitles. And specific to the legends, you have more cleaner and analytical context legends that you can specify. Depending upon the size of the context or size of the text, you can choose the size of the legends. And when it comes to the access labels, we all know how important it is when we are specifically designing a visual, how important access is. That gives you the key message of what the outliers could be or how the insights are important. So you have the ability to pick and choose the access label, size and font color and type of the font you would like to choose. And comes to the data labels, which is very important because this tells the key message of the values that you're presenting in an individual visual. So you have the ability to again control all the font size, shape, color, and all that. And then the table contents, like, right, we see a lot of pivot tables and straight tables in commonly used across our dashboards, where you have totals or you have cell values where you wanted to highlight specific totals or specific size of your context that you want to present. And in the demo, we'll be seeing all of this. With that, I'm going to over to you, Vetri, so you can start the demo.
So what we do here now is that let's start with the theming, and this is the initial dashboard that I have, and my goal is to create an end theme that looks like this with some of the gradient features that Priya talked about in the a few minutes ago. So let's start with this particular theme that I have that is plain and simple, and I want to enhance it or enrich it with a lot more colors that aligns with my specific, say, for example, my organization's branding. So let's go with, this is the analysis that I have, and I'm going to go with the themes from the edit menu. And this is the theme that is currently applied. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to duplicate the theme, or you can also create your own theme. So in this case, I'm going to duplicate the theme and say name it as Demo Center 2. And if you look at this one, themes have been existing within QuickSuite for a long time, but there are some changes that has in terms of the new sections that were introduced as part of the new release. So the foreground, background, etc., all of these things were already available. So those things still remain intact. And then what you can do is that you can for the interactive sheets, right? Not the pixel perfect report, but for any dashboard or the interactive sheet type, you have an option to include the background color into two various formats, right? And also the margin and gutter has also been included in the new section called interactive sheets. So the margin is basically the margin across around the dashboard. So let me keep that as it is. And the gutter is basically the space between the visuals. So I'm going to introduce some gutter between the visuals. And here I have an option to choose a specific solid theme color. So let me go ahead and choose a specific theme. And go to custom color, put it in here. Right, I apply. So if you look at this one, the solid color option is still available for the interactive sheets, but you can also choose a gradient color. So here again in the gradient color, you have two-step gradient color. So I'm going to choose again the same color here and choose a different color over here for the second step. And you also have the option to swap the colors if required. And you can also do the angle of the gradient as well. So here there are various options that is available for you, and you can choose to have, say, let me say I'm going to choose 180 as the angle of the gradient. So this way you can set up a gradient background for your interactive sheets. And the other new section that is introduced for the new features is the cards. So cards, again, we have introduced a lot of more capabilities within the cards that you can customize it. The first one is the title. And if you look at this one, um, earlier, if you want to modify anything about the title, you will have to change it for each and every individual visuals. But at this point, what we are doing is that we have introduced this titles settings and subtitle settings at the theme level, so you can change it. And also in the theme level, typically you would have seen in the past in Quick Suite, you would see the font size. It used to be like t-shirt size, large, small, or very large kind of a thing. But now we are giving a lot more um, control over the font size. So you can choose the font type as well as the font size is available in numerical values. So you can choose a specific number here, just like you would do in any other formatting options that you have seen, right? So, and then you can also choose a specific font size, bold, and the alignment as well. So you can center align the titles here, and I have also increased the font size from the default 14 to 15, or you can also choose it to be 16, right? And then you can also do the same thing for subtitles as well. And this is on the typography of the cards, title and subtitle. You also have another option on the background color and the border aspects of the visual or the card, right? So first you can choose the background color for the visuals, and here I'm going to say change it to a little grayish color. And you also have an option where if you want to hide the background, right? If you do not, if you want the cards to be really transparent, you can do that as well. Here I choose not to do that because of my theme or my branding aspect. I want to keep the background, but I want to introduce some type of transparency to the background, right? So I'm going to put it as 50% transparency. So this kind of gives me a glossy feel for all the visuals that I have put. And the next comes the border. So border, again, you have an option to choose a different color for the border, and also um, the the width of the border can be changed. Here for I'm going to choose like hide the border. I do not want any borders for my visuals. And then one of the frequent asks that we have come across earlier is the corner radius, right? So now you can choose to have a corner radius for your visuals that is built in, and it is also affecting all the visuals, like it will impact all the visuals in your theme based using your theme. You can have the corner radius for all of your visuals. And then next comes the padding. The padding is basically the uh, excuse me, basically the mix of the space between your visual elements and the edges of your visual card, right? So if you say, for example, if I'm going to choose 24 pixels, then there are a lot more space around the visual or the the actual the chart layer, chart section, and the edges of your visuals, right? This is again something that you can set it up. So I'm going to set it up as 4 pixels. You also have an option to choose the padding for individual directions, right? Instead of all the directions. So if you want to choose one different padding for the top and bottom and different for the left and right, you can choose that as well, right? At this point, I am going to keep it as just 16 pixels. And data series, I believe, yeah, this is something that existed earlier, so I'm going to skip this one. And the other option is the chart options, right? So here again, as Priya has mentioned, you have various options for the access titles, labels, legends, etc. So here I'm going to just pick one of this thing. This will be covered a lot more in detail by Priya. So here, say for example, I'm going to change the title to be 15 for the access titles, and the colors as well. So I'm going to choose some random color here for now. And this way you can set up the chart options here as well. And these are some of the other things that existed already for the warning and etc. So I'm going to skip this one as well. So these are some of the newly added features that you can see in the themes that can impact all the visuals in your dashboards. So this is a good way for you to set up some themes at this point, right? Or set up some configurations at the theme level, and that you can apply it directly. So here is this analysis still having the old theme applied. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the newly created theme. And you can see it here, the way it is applied. And one thing that you can see here is the ambient technologies. This is a logo that I have created. This is not like any other visuals. So I want to just change the appearance of this particular visual so that it shows the logo a lot more prominently. So for that, I'm going to format the specific visual. Go to the display settings, and I'm going to change this one into 100% opacity, and background can be white. And yeah, and the corner radius for the logo, I do not want the corner radius. I can keep this as well. So this way I can make sure that the logo is different from all the other visuals and is prominently shown in the beginning of the dashboard. So, and the other thing that I wanted to call out is the background. So in this case, the background, as you saw, it is part of the interactive sheet settings. So if you go to a pixel perfect report, if you have any, then you can see the background is still not affected. It would still keep the background from the original settings that is available in the themes. But if you look at the visuals, the corner radius as well as the background of the visual have changed here in the pixel perfect report as well, except for the background. So I just want to call that out. So this is the theme level setting that you can do. Now I hand it over to Priya to show what you can do at the individual visual levels as well. Over to you, Priya.
So Vetri has covered how you can apply a theme specific to your dashboard. And imagine you have a use case where you want to apply a theme, but you have one visual within that analysis that you are looking or you're working on that you think that could look little different or might make a few modifications to enhance how you are presenting the data or how you're representing your message to that specific visual. So here I'm picking one such visual, customer segmentation that I have for EMEA, APG, and AMER. And I want to show you how at an individual visual level or as well, you can make modifications and you have that flexibility, pick and choose how you would want your visual to look like, right? So here again, when you go into, let me close this, I'll show you how you can go. Once you go to the format visual of that specific visual, you have all these options that you can customize. Starting with display settings is where you can pick and choose what kind of title, what feature, what specific title format you want to do. So if I go by default, what I see is what Vetri has picked. He picked Amazon Amber and with 15 font size and all that. So, but I would like to highlight this. I wanted this to be a little bit bolder. So I'm going to pick it bold and I'm going to show you, this is just for the use case purpose to discuss for the demo. I'm going to show you how different you could make it at the individual visual level. So I'm going to pick 14, okay, and then save it. So right now it's on the left alignment. So let me go back and select it and then select to the middle and then pick 16 and save it. So you can see the difference, how it has updated, right? And also I want to show you what else can you do. And let's pick on a few other things, how you can format this. That's with the title and you can update the subtitle as well. Like I said, x-axis and y-axis is something you can change the formatting as well. Before, like Vetri said, before we also had the way to pick this, but it was more kind of like medium, large, and XL, more t-shirt size formatting options. But now you have much more type of styling options that you can pick and also the size of it, right? Let me pick here on the x-axis. I'm gonna pick something like 15 So you can see the difference for the text styling. And then here under the labels, I want to show you how we could do that. So here is for the x-axis titles, and then I want to make it bold. And then here on the labels, I'm going to make it look like bold so that you can see the difference. Here EMEA APJ was not bold before, and I wanted to make it bold. And then let's make it pick different color so I can see that you can see the difference of how it looks like. I'm going to pick some brown. And then I'm also going to increase the size of it to maybe 15, just to show you the difference. So this way you have the ability to pick and choose, make modifications to your x-axis and the labels as well. And then going to the similar way you can do it for y-axis as well. And then next I want to touch upon the key thing is the data labels. Here you will see, right, here you see some of these data labels are like the most common color of your bar. Maybe you wanted to make it more different and look better. So I want to pick a common color for all of them. So which is like I want to pick let me pick something more like black. So I want to highlight the numbers. So here you can see how you can have the more flexibility to highlight your numbers here. And also you can increase the size of it. So you can better show the outliers or specific to this visual. So that's with the data labels. So now at what we have seen now is like more at the individual visual level also you have control. You have that flexibility beyond the themes if you want to, if you have a specific use case that you want to specifically focus on an individual visual. Next comes as I said, we commonly, most probably I would say in a dashboard, you would have either a pivot table or a straight table. So here I have a pivot table. I just want to show you what customization options are available for you on specific to this specific visual. Here for default, if you want to enable the title, you can enable the title. And again, like I mentioned, at a specific visual level, you have ability to control how you would want your titles to be updated. And also, if you scroll down, the key thing I want to show you here is how you have the ability to show control the totals here, right? So I want to show you how I want to enable the rows total at the row level, and I want to highlight these totals so that I know it's important for this specific data that I'm presenting in this visual. It's important for me to be highlighted the totals value. So here you can go down here, you can make it bold. For the text styling, you can pick bold, and at bottom that's a label of the totals. So, and you can apply styling for the cells as well. So what that means is how your total should look like and how individual cell values should look like. And you can apply the same common pattern that you have applied for this specific totals to have the individual cells as well. And let's see, just to make it different, I'll increase the size of it, and this is how it is. Since sometimes if you have the totals are beyond the cell size, or you can make it much smaller as well, so that way you can fit in what fits into the specific visual, and you're not chopping any of those specific values that matters to your business. So with that, you also have these features that are available so that you can have better control over your individual visuals as well.